how to stay calm during turbulence, what's a go-to remedy for jet lag, and how come nobody gets strangled during the seatbelt routine. In this episode of How to Become, we're flying high with flight attendants. Their work is usually divided into 3 stages: before, during, and after flight. They check safety equipment, ensure supplies are stocked, and prepare the cabin for a smooth journey before you even step on board. During the flight, they're focused on keeping passengers safe and comfortable, explaining safety procedures, assisting with medical emergencies, serving meals, offering drinks, or simply handing out an extra pillow. If there are children on board, flight attendants go the extra mile to make sure they feel at ease and ideally calm. Tempted by the duty-free shop magazine, they've got you covered too. After landing, flight attendants help with deplaning and any last-minute chaos. In short, they're like the Swiss Army knives of the sky. Now, let's turn the clock back a few decades. In 1912, Heinrich Kubis, a former luxury hotel waiter, began serving passengers on flights from Berlin to Friedrichshafen. These early stewards handled luggage, meals, and drinks. Essentially, fancy air butlers. Back then, flight attending was still considered a man's job. In 1930, Ellen Church, a licensed nurse and pilot, pitched the idea of female flight attendants to improve passenger safety, leading to her becoming the first stewardess. In the 50s and 60s, being an air hostess or stewardess was seen as an elite profession. However, conditions were very strict. Stewardesses were only accepted if they were thin and beautiful, and most were aged out by 30 to maintain a youthful image. Plus, marriage meant your wings were clipped, and it was time to find a job on solid ground. In the 1980s, flight attendants were expected to have a high school diploma and excel in hospitality. Knowing a thing or two about airplanes, like what not to touch, was a helpful plus. Today's flight attendants are professionals trained in safety and emergency management. The role now welcomes people of all genders. And with air travel booming, this is one career that's not grounded anytime soon. What does it take to land a job as a flight attendant? Education-wise, a high school diploma gets you through the door. If you have experience in customer service or hospitality, even better. A valid passport is a must for international flights, and knowing how to swim, absolutely required. You never know when the pilot might decide to land somewhere a little wetter than expected. Airlines also have appearance rules. No visible tattoos, no out-there piercings, a polished look, and a height range between 152 and 185 centimeters. You'll also need to reach those overhead bins, so arm span matters. And let's not forget, you'll need to hoist 22 kilograms like it's a loaf of bread, because passengers don't really understand the word light. Once hired, the real work begins. Training can last a few weeks to several months and includes CPR, fire safety, evacuation drills, and crowd control. Certification exams are mandatory before you can start flying. Depending on where you live, this can be with the Federal Aviation Administration, European Union Aviation Safety Agency, or Civil Aviation Safety Authority. And even after that, you'll complete refresher courses every 12 to 24 months to ensure you're ready for anything. Pop quiz on emergency procedures, it's part of the job. And how can flight attendants break through social barriers? Ask Patricia Banks Edmiston. In 1957, when racial discrimination kept her from becoming a flight attendant, Patricia took a stand. She filed a lawsuit against Capital Airlines, challenging the airline's racist practices. In 1960, her tireless effort and belief in equality led to a legal victory. Patricia became the first African-American stewardess at Capital Airlines, setting the stage for an industry-wide shift that made aviation more inclusive. After retiring, she dedicated her life to substance abuse prevention, served on boards, and was honored in the Black Aviation Hall of Fame. Guess for the bold, the sky isn't the limit. It's a launchpad to greater things. Speaking of limits, how far can a flight attendant's paycheck really take you? First, you're not starting out in the VIP section. In the US, the typical pay starts somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000 per year. For context, the average worker pulls in about $37K. But the real magic happens when you start flying with airlines like Emirates or Qatar Airways. Not only do they offer better pay, but they sweeten the deal with tax-free income, free housing, and transportation. Oh, and if you know multiple languages, you can expect a pretty nice pay bump. Want to earn the top dollar? You'll need to stay in the game and work your way up. Now, let's talk perks. You get per diems or daily allowances during layovers, which means extra money while you're living your best life in a foreign city. And for the cherry on top, most airlines offer free flights for you and your loved ones. Think turbulence is wild? Wait till you hear these fun facts. In 1972, Vesna Vulovic survived a 10-kilometer fall without a parachute after a bomb exploded on her plane. Take that, gravity. The term steward has roots in nautical travel. Over time, it transformed into stewardess and then into flight attendant. Modern problems called for a modern job title. With only 4% of the safety demo being remembered, airlines resort to celebs, jokes, and funky little dances to hold our attention just a little longer. Flight attendant uniforms have evolved with fashion trends, from military-inspired looks in the 50s to sleek futuristic designs in the 60s. In the 70s, vibrant colors and bold patterns took flight, while the 80s embraced professional, tailored suits. Today, some airlines favor a more casual and comfortable look. If you want to learn about other aviation jobs, check the link in the description. Not a big fan of turbulence? Click the videos on screen to learn how to become an investment banker or a firefighter. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next episode about another fascinating career.